An inheritance isn't always about wealth. Sometimes it's about truth. And for Emily, a century-old pendant carried the responsibility of healing a family secret, buried for generations. When Emily Carter walked into the small, dusty attorney's office that morning, she thought it was going to be quick. Her grandmother had just passed away, a woman everyone in town knew as quiet, kind, and reserved. Emily thought she already knew everything about her, but that day, she learned she was wrong. The lawyer handed her a small, velvet box. Inside was a gold pendant, oval-shaped, a little tarnished, but still beautiful. Emily blinked in surprise. "Your grandmother wanted you to have this," the lawyer said. "She said you'd understand its meaning when the time was right." Emily forced a smile, but inside she was confused. She'd never seen her grandmother wear it, not once. Why give it to her? Why not her mother or one of her uncles? Back home, Emily placed the pendant in her palm, studying it closely. On the back, faintly engraved, were the initials E.M. But those weren't her grandmother's initials. They weren't Emily's either. Thoughtful, she frowned. Who did it belong to? That night, Emily's mother noticed the pendant. Her reaction was immediate and strange. "Where did you get that?" her mother whispered, her voice shaky. "Grandma left it for me." "Why? Do you know whose initials these are?" Emily asked. But instead of answering, her mom's face went pale. She shook her head quickly. "Emily, don't go digging into the past. Some things are better left alone." Emily froze. Her mother's tone was sharp, almost fearful, but why? Later, lying awake in bed, Emily couldn't stop replaying her mom's words. Why would a pendant, a piece of jewelry, make her react like that? And why did her grandmother leave it only to her? Emily didn't know it yet, but that pendant was holding a secret buried for almost 100 years. And once she discovered the truth, her family would never look the same again. Emily picked up her phone, snapped a picture of the pendant, and started searching the initials online. A few clicks later, her jaw dropped. The first result wasn't just a name, it was a headline. It read, "Local woman missing in 1924, case still unsolved. Sometimes the truth doesn't come looking for us. It waits, quietly, until the exact moment it knows we can't walk away." Emily sat frozen at her desk, staring at the screen. The pendant's initials matched the name of a woman who had disappeared almost a century ago, Evelyn Monroe. But this wasn't a crime article. It wasn't gruesome or dark. It was an old society column, the kind that reported on who married who and who came from what family. Evelyn Monroe was described as a young woman from a well-to-do family who vanished before her wedding day. That was it. A single line. No follow-up, no answers, just gone. Emily leaned back, confused. Why would her grandmother leave her jewelry connected to someone from 1924? What did Evelyn Monroe have to do with her family? The next morning over coffee, Emily brought it up to her mom again. "Mom, who is Evelyn Monroe?" she asked gently. Her mother froze, the spoon in her hand clinking against the mug. "Where did you hear that name?" she whispered. Emily showed her the article. Her mother's face went pale again, and instead of answering, she got up and left the room, muttering, "I told you to leave it alone, Emily. Just let it go." Emily felt her chest tighten. Why was she acting like she'd touched a live wire? That afternoon, she decided to visit her grandmother's old house, now locked up, but still filled with boxes no one had touched yet. Maybe the answers were there. Inside the attic, dust motes floated in the sunlight as Emily carefully opened a wooden trunk. It was filled with letters tied together with fading blue ribbon. Her hands trembled as she opened the first one. The handwriting was elegant, old-fashioned. It was signed E.M. Her heart pounded. Evelyn Monroe. The letters weren't just casual notes. They were love letters. And not from Evelyn to her fiancé, but to someone else entirely. Someone with a last name Emily knew very well. Carter. Emily's breath caught. Carter. Her own family name. Suddenly, it hit her. Evelyn Monroe hadn't just disappeared. She had been connected to her family all along. She clutched the letters, stunned. Could this be why her mother didn't want her to know? Was there something about her grandmother's past that had been carefully hidden for generations? As she sat in the attic, heart racing, she realized she had two choices: walk away, respect her mother's silence, or keep going and risk unraveling everything she thought she knew about her family. Emily closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "I have to know." She stuffed the letters into her bag and hurried out, unaware that someone had been standing at the bottom of the stairs, watching her the entire time. As Emily reached her car, her phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. It read, "Stop digging into Evelyn Monroe. Some secrets should stay buried." Sometimes, when people tell you not to ask questions, it's not because they don't know the answer. It's because the truth might cost them more than they're ready to lose. Emily stared at the text, her hands trembling. Stop digging into Evelyn Monroe. Some secrets should stay buried. Her first thought was obvious: her mom. But when she confronted her later that evening, her mom's eyes filled with confusion. "I didn't text you. Emily, why would I? You think I want to scare you?" Her mom snapped, hurt. Emily felt her stomach twist. If it wasn't her mom, then who knew she was searching? She thought about her uncles, her grandmother's sons. They had barely spoken at the funeral. One of them, Uncle David, hadn't even looked Emily in the eye. Could he know something? That night, Emily sat in her room with the pendant hanging from her fingers, the letters spread out across her bed. She whispered to herself, "What were you hiding, Grandma? And why only give this to me?" Her best friend Sarah called. Emily confessed everything: the pendant, the letters, the strange warning text. Sarah said slowly, "Don't you think it's weird? Your grandma didn't give this to your mom, or your uncles. She gave it to you. Maybe she thought you'd be the only one brave enough to look for the truth." Those words lit a fire in Emily. She wasn't going to back down. The next morning, she paid a visit to her Uncle David. His house was small, cluttered, and filled with the faint smell of cigarette smoke. He looked surprised to see her at the door. "What brings you here?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. Emily swallowed hard. "I found letters, old ones, from Evelyn Monroe. Do you know who she was?" For a moment, David's face drained of color. He set his coffee mug down slowly. "Emily, you need to stop asking questions you're not ready to hear the answers to." Her heart skipped. Not ready to hear the answers? That only made her want them more. "But why?" she pushed. "Why would Grandma keep letters from a woman who disappeared? Why would she give me her pendant?" David looked away, his jaw tight. "Because," he muttered, "if the truth comes out, it'll ruin everything this family has worked for." Emily leaned in, desperate. "What truth? What are you hiding?" He finally looked her in the eye, his voice low. "You're chasing a story that could ruin the entire family's reputation." Emily's blood ran cold. Ruin the family's reputation? What did that even mean? David stood, motioning toward the door. "Go home, Emily, drop it, or you'll regret it." Emily walked out shaken. She sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel, her mind racing. She thought to herself, what secret is my family hiding, and what is it about the pendant that could ruin my family's image? When she got home that night, she tucked the letters under her pillow and clutched the pendant against her chest. But in the middle of the night, Emily woke up to the sound of her bedroom door creaking. She sat up, heart racing. The letters she had hidden were gone. On her nightstand, in their place, was a single folded note. It read, "If you want the truth, meet me tomorrow at the old Willow Street Library. Come alone." Sometimes the hardest secrets to face aren't the ones about strangers. They're the ones that make us question the people we thought we knew best. The next morning, Emily sat in her car outside the Willow Street Library. The old brick building was half abandoned, its windows dusty, its sign faded. Her stomach churned. She clutched the pendant in her hand. "Grandma, what did you want me to find?" Inside, the library smelled of paper and dust. A single figure sat waiting at a corner table. Emily's breath caught when she realized who it was. Uncle David. He leaned forward, his face lined with guilt. "You shouldn't have pushed this far, Emily," he said, "but since you have, I'll tell you what I know." Emily sat across from him, heart pounding. Evelyn Monroe, David began, wasn't just some woman from town. She was your grandmother's sister, your grand aunt. Emily's jaw dropped. Her sister, but Grandma never mentioned her, not once. David nodded grimly. That's because Evelyn's life didn't end the way the family wanted people to believe. She was engaged to a wealthy man, but she was in love with someone else, someone from the Carter family. Your grandfather. Emily's chest tightened, the Carter name again. So, what happened to her? Emily whispered. She didn't disappear. She ran. She left everything behind. Her family, her name, her fiancé, the pendant. Emily's hand shook as she clutched it tighter. But if she ran away, why keep it a secret? Why hide her story from all of us? David's eyes softened, because Evelyn's choice divided the family. Half disowned her. The other half quietly protected her. That's why your grandmother never spoke about it. She was the one who helped Evelyn start over. Emily blinked back tears. So Grandma carried this guilt her whole life, pretending her sister didn't exist? David nodded. And now, your mother doesn't want you to know. Because if the truth comes out, people will realize that this family, this name we've been so proud of, was built on a lie. Emily sat back, stunned. A lie. All the family pride, the gatherings, the speeches about legacy, none of it was what she thought. David leaned closer. Emily, you can still stop. You can put those letters away and pretend you never found them. It's not too late. Emily's voice cracked. But Grandma didn't give me this pendant so I'd bury the truth. She gave it to me so I'd find the truth. David's jaw tightened, but he didn't argue. He simply stood up and walked away, leaving Emily shaking at the table. She stayed there for a long time, staring down at the pendant. Everything made sense now, or so she thought. But when she got home that evening, her mother was waiting in the living room, holding the very letters Emily thought she had lost. Her mother's face was streaked with tears. You weren't supposed to find out this way, she whispered.
Why did you keep this family secret away from me, Mom?
Why didn't you or anyone ever speak about Evelyn Monroe, my grand aunt? Her mom reached for the pendant in Emily's hand, her voice breaking. This necklace doesn't just carry your grand aunt's secret, Emily. It carries ours, the family's secret. This pendant is a reminder of a shame the family buried for years. No one talks about it. Her mother explained further. Evelyn Monroe fell in love with Thomas Carter, your grandfather, even though she was already engaged to a wealthy man the family approved of. Her love for Mr. Carter was genuine, but the family saw it as reckless and shameful. On the eve of her arranged marriage, instead of spending the rest of her life with a man she didn't love, she chose to run away. Before she left, Evelyn secretly gave the pendant to Granny as a goodbye gift, a symbol of her love. Keeping it would remind her of a love she could never have. Your grandmother actually helped Evelyn escape, but she was left behind to face the family's anger and shame. When Evelyn ran away, she rebuilt her life. She changed her name, lived quietly, and cut ties with the past. But my mother, your grandmother, was the only one who knew where she went. She kept the secret for decades. Years later, Granny and Thomas Carter, your grandfather, grew close. Not out of betrayal, but because over time they found their own connection. It wasn't scandalous. It was simply life moving forward. But then extended family carried the shameful silence of Evelyn's disappearance for decades. The family's shame was about defiance of tradition, a runaway bride, and a love that upset the family's carefully built reputation. Her story was erased, completely. Her pendant was hidden, and Granny lived with guilt, knowing her happiness was built on the ashes of her sister's heartbreak. Emily tried to process it all. But why would grandmother pass the pendant down to me? Why not you? Why not your brothers? Her mother's shoulders slumped. Because I begged her not to. I thought protecting the family's reputation was more important than the truth. I didn't want anyone to know we came from a woman who had disgraced her family. I thought silence would keep us safe. Emily's heart ached. Mom, Evelyn didn't disgrace the family. She was in love. She made a choice for her happiness. How is that shameful? Her mother's face crumbled. For the first time, Emily saw not the stern, closed-off parent she knew, but a daughter still haunted by generations of silence. You don't understand. For years, I carried this weight. Every time someone praised our family name, I knew it wasn't the whole story. I thought if people found out, it would destroy us.
Emily reached for her mother's hand, her voice steady now.
Mom, it's not the truth that destroys families. It's the lies we build to cover it. Grandma gave me this pendant because she wanted us to finally stop hiding. She wanted us to heal. Emily's mother said, "Since your father passed before I gave birth to you, I gave you my father's name, Carter, and named you after your grandmother, Emily Carter. Little did I know, fate had a plan." Grandma didn't just give you the pendant, Emily. She gave you herself. She wanted you to carry her story forward, and Evelyn's too. So you're right, Emily. She wanted you to be the one to help this family heal from the shame we've carried for so long. Silence filled the room. For a long time, neither of them spoke. And then, slowly, her mother nodded, breaking down in against Emily's shoulder. In the days that followed, Emily and her mom decided together to share Evelyn's story with the rest of the family. At first, there was anger, shock, even denial. But as the truth spread, something unexpected happened. Instead of shame, there was relief. Instead of division, there was understanding. The pendant no longer represented a secret hidden in the dark. It became a symbol of truth, love, and courage. The courage to live authentically, no matter the cost. And as Emily fastened the necklace around her own neck one last time, she whispered, "I'll carry this, Grandma, not as a secret, but as a story." So to Emily's grandmother, keeping the pendant hidden was her way of holding on to Evelyn privately, while publicly honoring the family-approved story. The pendant represents the truth Grandma couldn't say out loud. To Emily's mom and the rest of the family, it was a symbol of fear of shame. To Emily, it was the truth that sets everyone free. Moral of this story: lies may protect a family's reputation for a moment, but truth protects its soul forever. Sometimes the greatest honor we can give to those before us is to tell their story honestly. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful tales. The next one is something you don't want to miss.